Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dr. Mondo, and I don't know, it's 4 o'clock-ish, and it's time for some office hours. And so, yeah, I'm excited to join you guys here on this Thursday afternoon. How you guys doing? How's your week been? Good to hear that. What's been going on? I know that we are wrapping up a jam-packed week here over on the Facebook page, on the Instagram page. Been doing so many exciting things. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's been an uptick in the level of videos or in the quality and the amount of videos that we're putting out, especially if you're following us. And if you're not following us on Instagram, you definitely have to. It's at the THE Dr. DRMONDO on Instagram. And you should definitely be following us because every day we're trying to put out more videos and more content, as they like to say. And that content is really geared around inspiring you, encouraging you, and attempting to also show you and teach you some things that maybe you did not know that will help you in your transformation journey. So this is a journey to not just lose weight, but to rewrite your story in the process. And if you are new around here, you'll hear that term a lot, rewriting my story. Because what we found is that people who are successful in their transformations make it less about the end goal of losing weight and more about rewriting their story. So changing everything about their life's story, re-examining the things about their life and saying, what am I okay with, what am I not okay with in my story, and really making an effort, a concerted effort to change that. So that's what everything is all about in terms of everything that we look to touch. And so again, there's been an opportunity recently. He doesn't know I'm going to do this, but I want to just give him a quick shout out because he's been such a blessing. Aaron Yabes, who I'll grab his Instagram handle in a minute. You need to follow him. The guy's an amazing photographer, videographer, and recently he came into my life in terms of my inner circle here of just folks that I collaborate with, and anyway, we got a chance to work together, and he's unbelievable. He's amazing. He cranks out videos literally daily from me. He takes all the video content that I have. He's going through all the old interviews that we've done up until this point on the Rewriting My Story. He's looking at all the videos I've created the last few years, and he's creating these little 60-second nuggets that he's pushing out there. And those nuggets are being released on Instagram daily. So again, if you're not on following us on Instagram, go over there because our goal is to really inspire you and encourage you. And those nuggets are going to be put out every single day. Some of those are finding their way over to Facebook, but not all of them have yet. So anyway, go check us out on Instagram, and we'll be sure to be able to try to hopefully inspire you and educate you guys daily. So I see some of you guys rolling in: Maureen, Dan, Jeff. I know there's more of you, but I see all you guys, and I really appreciate you guys for tuning in today. This office hours is going to be fun because as we continue to move along with each of these formats, things are being tried out, changed, shifted. I don't know if you guys caught this, but on Tuesday night we had a change in our location of where we actually broadcast from. We have a sponsor now for this show. That sponsor is no other than Pachamama Coffee, which if you're in Sacramento or even really, I guess, all throughout the country, Pachamama is just an amazing. Hey, Lori, good to see you. It's amazing coffee, not just a place to get coffee, but just the story behind Pachamama is unbelievable, and how they actually are the only coffee company to go down and not just buy beans from farmers down in South America, but to actually create a partnership where those farmers become CEOs in the company. So we want to work for you, not with you. It's really an interesting brand, but they have an amazing coffee story, and they're just a perfect partnership for us to have. I drink coffee there every day, so that's where we're broadcasting on Tuesday nights from, is actually from Pachamama. And if you're in Sacramento, you can come down and you can watch the show now every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'd love to see you and interact with you. So anyway, that's some changes we're doing. The other change that we're doing too is that we now have the ability, so you could write in. Good to see you too, Dan. And I want to update, man. How are you doing? But so we have an opportunity for you guys to, as you can see, I'm seeing everything that you're typing to me. So this is about you asking me questions during office hours. I say, just like a professor, you're coming here and you're knocking on my door and you ask me anything you want to ask me, anything related to plant-based, anything related to therapy. It doesn't have to be related to just weight loss. You can ask me anything about me. Anything you want to ask me, just go ahead and ask me. But there is some topics that have been coming in throughout the week, and we often get emails, we get messages, and as this thing's growing, it's been cool because we get lots of people with unique perspectives, and so we don't always get the chance to answer those messages, and so why not do it here? So that's what we're going to do here today. Is we have come up with some topics. If you could see, we now have some topics. That's probably backwards for you, so that's not going to do any good. But let me kind of tell you what's on here. But you can see we have topics. Okay, yeah, we got to flip that or something. But the first topic is I'll just read a quick rundown, then we'll dive into these. So ask your questions, but we have topics. Don't worry, we have topics to discuss. So 75% divorce rate recap. We're going to start there. We'll talk about Tuesday night's show, that statistic. We talked about that the other night. 75% of people who go through a weight loss transformation end up divorced. We unpacked that statistic. The second topic is plants over earthing or everything. The third topic is Diet Fiction, the film, which if you do not know about that, my gosh, Google that. That film's going to be coming out. The premiere is in August. I'll tell you more about that. That's the third topic, Diet Fiction. The fourth topic is 26.2. 26.2, what the heck does that number mean? For me, that is the amount of miles that I get to run. As Matt Buckner reminds me, I get to run 26.2. I'll tell you more about that. The fifth question is, and this is a serious one, if you haven't been able to tell from my recent quiff video about my hair, there is a different side to me. I'm very serious, but I also love to mess around. I can be very dry and sarcastic, and anyway. And so the fifth question, as I said, it's very important, and it's earth-shattering. Your favorite 90s R&B group. That one we may want to save a lot of time for because I have a lot to discuss on my favorite 90s R&B group. A lot of good ones to choose from. Number 6 is why some people resist or hate on your weight loss. So why are some people haters? We'll get into that. That's number 6. And then number 7 is that video that some of you may have seen. If you haven't seen it, I don't know how much longer it's going to be up, but it's up right now and under videos. And it's it's kind of testing your dedication to watching long format videos. It's 14 minutes long. Which I know in today's day and age is crazy, but anyway, it's this video about hashtag Quiff, Q-U-I-F-F, and if you don't know what that is, you'll find out. Go watch the video. But that's our final topic we'll talk about today. Is that real or is that fake? That's what a lot of people are asking. So let's start at the first question that we have here on Office Hours, and that first question is simply a recap of the 75% divorce rate. So if you missed that episode, here's the cool thing. You could always go back and watch the previous episode. They're all recorded. Thank you, Facebook. And they're there. You could watch it. You could relive it. And you're able to comment on it. We could still see the comments. We still get notifications. Everyone on the show gets a notification. So we could actually get to some of your comments, even post-show. So tune back in. But Tuesday night, we didn't interview just a guest. We had a panel. And it was a little bit different format. I think it actually went really well. We got great feedback on it. And we had a topic, and the topic was this statistic of 75% of marriages end in divorce when someone goes through drastic weight loss. One of the things we did at the onset is talk about the validity of that number. Is that number accurate? And if you missed it, what we did is we talked about how it's actually closer to 80 or 85%, but that tends to be in populations of people that go through drastic weight loss, but not just any type of drastic weight loss, through bariatric surgery. So surgery that induces weight loss, the lap band, the sleeve. So we talked about, how even that specific population might have their own set of hurdles or their own set of unique factors. There isn't, the bottom line is, a specific number that we can pinpoint and say that if you're going to lose weight, this is the number that we know of people that get divorced in the general population. So we don't have that number. That was one of the things we talked about. But why then, talk about a statistic, 75% then, if it's not true and not valid? Well, because you hear that number everywhere, 75%. And it's not far off what the 80 to 85% number is for the bariatric surgery population. So the point was, it's not about 75% as much as it is about telling the story of what challenges and changes do couples face when they go through drastic weight loss. So that's the takeaway. Don't get lost in that specific number, but that's what we talked about. It's an amazing episode. We had on it 3 guests, BJ Swingle. BJ, just an amazing story. And then we also had on it Anthony Macelio, one of my first guests on my show. So it'd be really, really cool to hear what his perspective and take was. He actually was the one that brought the topic up of having that show. And then we had our final guest, and sorry, I feel like why am I forgetting Gary Stotler? Sorry, Gary. I don't know what happened. And Gary and I are in contact quite a bit. But there was that moment, just it floated out. Gary Stotler, and Gary shared his story, and in Gary sharing his story, it was really amazing. Gary talked about going through a divorce, and he talked about what it was like to really have that experience of experiencing he and his wife growing apart in the process. And Gary was so candid, and you gotta watch, if you just tune in, because that was one of the only times that Gary's talked about going through his divorce, just period. And for him to do that, but to do it on Facebook Live, and then to add this other layer to it, he did it on a panel where the other 2 folks are still married, so that had to have been hard. And he also was doing it from a really remote place. Right now he's up in Leadville, Colorado, if anyone knows that area. Elevation 8,000 feet, and he's up there training for a big race. So he's kind of out there just left with his thoughts a lot. And I really commend Gary. Gary is, it's funny that I had like a moment where his name, slipped my mind, just simply because, Gary he and I have been talking a lot lately. And this guy has so many amazing ideas about the future of helping people. And so it's just really, really cool. And he's so candid, he's so transparent. It's just, we are definitely 2 guys that can't wait to get in a room together and just continue to talk. These conversations have been so great that we've been having. So anyway, that is number 1, the divorce rate recap. Again, you can watch that episode. If you haven't watched it already, you can watch that episode. It is in the vault. A couple comments coming in here, excuse the finger. Would be curious to hear a conversation with you and Dr. Davis on this topic. I'll tell you, hey, if anyone could find a way for me to talk to Dr. Garth Davis, it's funny, what pops in my mind is Wayne's World, We're Not Worthy. Garth and Wayne doing that, because if I had a chance to talk with him, I'd say I'm not worthy, man. That guy is just such a cool force in this field. I've learned so much from him in my 11th months going plant-based. But yeah, I'm sure, one of the things he would probably say off the bat is that statistic valid, and you get into some of that. But I would love to talk with him about beyond that, just some of the implications of the struggles that people are having, because the struggles are real, and we heard from that just the other day. Maureen says, I want to know how I can deal with weight gain that I gained. I can handle the weight loss when it comes. I've dealt with negativity all my life regardless of my weight, but my self-negativity has gotten worse since I gained weight. My marriage is in trouble now because of how I feel about myself. And why is it that I can't seem to stick with what I'm doing to help myself lose weight? What I would say to that is that this is where support really comes in. A lot of people end up in therapy when they're at this point that they just feel stuck. And sometimes we often need support when we're stuck to help get unstuck. And, one of the things I say is that if you've been in any sort of history of weight cycling, even if it's once or twice where you lose the weight and gain it back, one of the things that's really tough is the shame and the hopelessness. And when you are facing shame and hopelessness, you need someone on the other side of that pouring some encouragement into you and reflecting some things that you can't see about your situation into your life in order to get you unstuck. I mean, imagine a truck that gets stuck in the mud out in the middle of the woods. That's, you can't always get unstuck. At some point, you need someone to pull you out. Sometimes it's a lot of people to pull you out. And that's the case when you're stuck in a place that you're stuck in, Maureen, in terms of feeling all that negativity and having gained the weight back and the hopelessness and the shame. So this is a great opportunity to get some support. And I know I know that for Maureen, who's been really open about her feelings, that I know, Maureen, that you're taking advantage of our program, Rewriting My Story program. And one of the things we talk about in the program is often the program is step one to getting you into counseling. And so I hope that's something that you'll consider. And that goes for any of you out there that are feeling like you're struggling with some of what Maureen said. And I know Maureen's not alone. So again, I would encourage you to look towards therapy. Nalita says, need that quiff to hold in those thoughts. I think part of it's a really interesting word. I was gonna say it's a fun word, but I don't know if that's the right word for it. To quiff or not to quiff, that is a question. And Nalita, we'll get to that. That's number 7 on here. And Dan, I appreciate you sharing some feedback for Maureen right there. So hey, I know there's some more stuff that's coming in. Let's get back to this, and then I'll jump into what you guys are asking. And by the way, share this if you think anyone else wants to join in and hear some of what we're talking about today. The second topic that I get all the time is, hey, keto, or hey, I don't know, all the things there are out there, paleo, whatever. Why is it that you're all about plants over earthing? And how many people on this live are plant eaters? Any plant eaters out there? Can I get some wows if you're a plant eater? That question is one that I could spend a lot of time on. Why do I eat plants? And why do I, what do I think about keto? What do I think about paleo? First of all, I've ate paleo and keto more of my life than I have ate plants. I've only been a plant eater for 11 months. But I'll tell you that just talk to me next month, because each month it's going to keep rolling. I'm not stopping. I'm not going back. Absolutely love eating this way. Just incredible energy. Obviously, I've lost weight. My blood test improved in 30 days in ways that it hadn't improved ever, even when I was at my lowest weight from eating other healthy sort of ways. But it's also expanded for me. So number one is that I definitely started off as what I would call stage 1 of veganism, or whole food plant-based eating, which is you're a vain vegan. You're doing it for yourself and your own health reasons. I didn't do it necessarily for vanity in terms of what I wanted to look like, because I never even weighed myself. It was more that I needed energy. I knew my daughter was on the way. I already had a son. I was like, how am I going to keep up? And I wasn't even doing half the things I'm doing now with the Dr. Mondo stuff. They were all on hold because I felt like I couldn't catch up with stuff. And so that's what made me turn to plant-based. I watched the documentary Forks Over Knives 5 years ago, longer than that now. And I knew in my mind, I felt like it was a spiritual thing of almost like, man, you have to do this. Felt like God was telling me, you got to do this. And I was like, all right, I will. Just give me 5 years. And so I took 5 years. And during that 5 years, I gained and lost the same amount of weight, kind of over and over and over. Anyway, went through all of that, and so here I was in this crossroads 11 months ago, and that was when I finally decided to get help from a coach, Sharon McRae, who I've talked about on here before. She helped me go plant-based. Why plants over earthing? Why plants over everything? Simply because, I'll tell you, it's the way I feel. I feel so good. And I graduated from level 1 vegan or plant-based to level 2, which is learning about the environmental impact of my decisions. And that made me go, now I'm really not going back. Thank you, Cowspiracy, for that. And then eventually I did, I always loved animals, but to actually get that side of it too, like understanding the impact of saving animals' lives and speciesism and all the things that come with that. Again, it's just now I'm at a point where it's really integrated into who I am, not just as a diet choice, but as a lifestyle choice. I feel amazing. I still eat good. I'm telling you, every single day I love what I eat. But yeah, for me it's plants over everything. And what I'll say to that too is you can lose weight a bunch of different ways. Like you absolutely can, right? There's so many ways to lose weight. So if someone wants to say, oh, but you could lose weight on keto, paleo, you're right, you can. But for me personally, why I choose plants over everything is because I think it's a sustainable approach long term. And I also think that it helps me personally because I am someone that has an addictive brain. My brain likes patterns. So when I am eating this way, it's really simple. Like everything I eat doesn't trigger me to like go into these crazy addictive bouts like fast food did or high saturated fat did. I wasn't as much of a sugar guy, but definitely was a fast food, real heavy, not even carb loaded, which I only eat exclusively carbs now, but it was eating carne asada fries. It was eating burritos. It was eating, I still eat burritos, but now they're a little bit different, more burrito bowls, and they're vegan. They're whole foods, plant-based. Burgers, fries, stuff like that. That's what would get me in these loops. Pizza, that I would just become feeling like crap, but also loving the dopamine rush of eating those foods and wanting more and more and more and more. So not anymore. Plants over everything. So anyway, that's question number 2. The third is diet fiction, and I'm going to jump into some of your guys' questions and kind of alternate back and forth. Diet fiction, the film. So diet fiction, the film, the question about that is, what is diet fiction and when is this film coming out? So you may have seen a trailer for a film called The Yo-Yo Effect. Anyone seen that trailer? The Yo-Yo Effect? It's done by Michał Szyriński. Michał did a film that if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. It's called Food Choices. It is excellent. Michał is based out of Chicago. He did some work with Rahm Emanuel and Barack Obama when they were both mayors of Chicago. And just an amazing film director. And he went on this quest in Film Choices to try to find what was the best way to eat and be healthy. He actually had a similar story to me. He had kids and he was kind of like, man, I've yo-yoed a lot in my life. What do I do? What's the healthiest way? So Food Choices was his film that you can watch on Netflix now. And it's about his quest to find what's the healthiest way to eat and why. And he really unpacks it in a scientific sort of way. He did Food Choices, and then it was time for him to do his second film, and it was this film that he initially had called The Yo-Yo Effect. So if you Google The Yo-Yo Effect, there's a trailer out for it. And his idea was he wanted to now take on the diet industry. He wanted to take on this diet industry that he believes really takes advantage of people who are vulnerable and susceptible and lures them in with these ideas and false promises. And he wanted to talk about, what actually is the diet industry doing to people's body and why isn't it working? And again, just the way that Michał takes things apart, he just takes things apart systematically. He interviewed 44 different people for his documentary. He interviewed all the big names, Dr. Dean Ornish, I believe Dr. Greger. He interviewed all the big names for his documentary. He spent over a year doing this. And I don't know how, don't ask me how, but somehow I got included to be one of those interviews. And I was actually his final interview in Chicago earlier this year. And so Michał finished editing of the film recently. And they also went through a process of having to change the film's name. It's no longer The Yo-Yo Effect. Now it's called Diet Fiction. So that's what you'll be looking for, Diet Fiction. And the premiere of the film is going to be in Chicago. It's a private premiere, but it's happening in August, the first weekend of August. And it's really cool because I'm actually going to be out in August that weekend. I mean, it's totally lined up for me to be there. I'm so happy. He invited me and said, hey, it'd be great if you could be here. And I was like, I'm going to be there already. I'm out there for a speaking event. I'm out there for Lollapalooza, and I'm out there to now partake in the premiere of Diet Fiction, the film. So I want you to keep your radars up for that. Write that down. Go watch Food Choices if you haven't already. But that film's going to be coming out, and it is as Michał said, it's going to disrupt the entire diet industry. And disrupt is the word that he uses over and over again. It's seeking to disrupt the way that we're doing things and wanting to help people long term. So it aligns with everything that we're doing here. He's a fantastic director, a great person. A little trivia, he was the first ever guest that we had on this program. Yeah, Michał Szyriński. So you can go back and even watch his transformation story of rewriting my story. It's episode number 1, in case you're curious. And we can't wait for that. So again, let's take a look at some of the questions here. Another former guest, speaking of former guest, Dan Herman says, self-deprecation. Everyone knows self-deprecation. Being hard on yourself, really negative self-talk is a real thing, but you need to have tools to deal with it. If possible, seek out the help of others who can help give you those tools. Well said. I think when we're all caught in isolation in our own prison, self-deprecation is what we end up gravitating towards. Left in a cave by ourselves, you have to be really spiritually sound and strong and really have a strong identity built up in order to handle being in that cave alone. Otherwise, the negative voices are going to creep in. And so, I think it's a great point. It's well said. We need people pouring into us. I would definitely agree with that. Kimberly says, I know what feeling stuck is like, right? My marriage is thankfully not in any trouble. So that's great, but I have a lot of self-negativity due to my weight gain from my hysterectomy, and this whole week I've been on a downhill binge. So, Kimberly, I'm so sorry to hear that, and I know that you're tuning in right now, and that's the real good news, is that you're tuning in. There's so many things you could be doing. You could avoid a place where we talk about weight loss, or we talk about health and wellness, but I'm glad that you are tuning in, because you've realized, hopefully at this point, that more than talking about those things, we're here to provide love, support, and a healthy outlet. And I know what it's like to be in a downhill binge. I know that what it's like to have one pizza turn into weeks of pizza and weeks of weight gain, months of weight gain. I know what that's like. The amazing thing is that you are 72 hours, and I'm not joking. You are 72 hours away, if not less, from feeling completely different. One of the things that's mind-blowing is that sometimes, as powerful as we feel, as powerful as devastating as it can feel right now to be stuck in as you called it, this downhill binge, at some point that's gonna shift and lift. At some point that will shift, and at some point that's going to lift when you make choices that get you to a new place. And so if you, for the next 72 hours, just make a series of one choice after the other that is different, that doesn't have to be perfect, but it's in a healthier direction, you will feel different in 72 hours or less. I can tell you, it's a guarantee. You just have to make different choices. And it's not just white knuckle it, it's get support around you. So now reach out to someone and get someone around you who can help encourage you and support you in that direction. You're going through a healing process. When we heal physically, we're also going through something emotionally too. So yeah, I can just imagine how you're feeling physically, but then on top of that, you have the emotional stuff that you're going through. So you need support, but you're not far away from digging yourself out of that hole. So I really want to make that point known. Quiff is just below slacks in terms of clunkiness in the English vernacular. That's a hard transition. I'm just reading as I go, but Dan, you are absolutely right. And it's funny because I reached for this. Someone gave me this recently. It's called Untranslatable Words, which might as well pull from one real quick. So this is a series of postcards that are just untranslatable words from other languages. Well, here's the first one we're going to pull. So speaking of awkward or strange words, can you guys see that one? It's Waldsteinapk. I can't even. Waldeinsamkeit. Try pronouncing that one. But there it is. So talk about words. That's the word, and it's a German word. It's literally forest loneliness. It's interesting. The feeling of solitude, being joyful alone in the woods and feeling deeply connected to nature. That's cool. Ralph Waldo Emerson, great poet, even wrote a poem about it. That's cool. So here, you learn something new in these untranslatable words. You can't translate this to English. Speaking of the English language, that's what made me think of that, Dan. And you can't even pronounce it unless you're German. Waldim Samkit. He's a great guy. Forest loneliness, a feeling of solitude, being joyful alone in the woods and feeling deeply connected to nature. Anyone ever had that feeling of being deeply connected to nature, in solitude, alone, in the woods? Yeah, that's a cool word. Anyway, it reminded me of that. I thought we would go to that if things got slow tonight, which they're not. You guys are all sharing amazing stuff, but in case they do, we have our untranslatable words that we can pull from to keep this office hours moving. We're already halfway through. Thank you guys for tuning in. Share if you haven't already. 26.2 is number 4, and there's that emoji of, oh my gosh, is this really happening? Yeah, it is happening, whether I like it or not. I'm signed up for a marathon, 26.2 miles. I've ran 10 half marathons in my life, which is 13.1. And I'm just moving with the current of what's around me. Josh Lajani was on the show, and a few other guests that I had, and you know, they were just talking about the importance of challenging fears, and it's something that I've really been embracing a lot, especially the last couple months. I've always believed in it, but recently I've really gotten back into that groove. And you know, I never thought I could run 3 miles, let alone 13 miles. And so having done it 10 times now throughout my life, at times when I was a lot heavier than I am now, at times when I thought it was totally impossible, it's been amazing. I faced fears in that, but now I still have this fear of this idea that there's no way I'm a marathon runner. So I'm gonna go try to prove that wrong. And I know I will prove it wrong. So that's gonna happen. I agreed to do a marathon in Louisiana in January. And in order to get ready for that, there's a marathon here in California, in Sacramento, called the California International Marathon. It's the biggest marathon here in California, and it's happening in December. And I've ran that as a half marathon before, but I've never ran it as a full, obviously, and so I'm gonna run it. And Fleet Feet, who's an amazing local running store, has agreed to, has offered to have me join their running team and have me train with them. So they're really just sponsoring and being super supportive. I just went in and did a video where I got some running shoes from them, and they used all their iPad technology to plug in and look at my feet with scans of 3D feet, and I found out I'm not flat-footed anymore, which is crazy. The inserts that I've been wearing from Good Feet actually did help me gain an arch. Mind-blowing. But anyway, so I'm fitted, and I'm back to training. I ran 7.5 miles the other day. I ran a half marathon with no training, which I don't recommend, a couple weeks ago with my son, pushing him in the stroller. So anyway, yeah, I'm getting my mileage in, and I'm excited. So if any of you have recommendations, like what are some good books to read? What are some good practices that you found to make you successful in transitioning to these longer runs? I would really love to hear your feedback. So if you have feedback about, anyone done 26.2 out there? Huh? Anyone? Hello? Anyone done 26.2? If you have, tell me about it. What am I in store for? Should I back out now? Too late. I'm signed up. I'm in. We just have 3 more questions left on today's office hours. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have more questions, type them in below. I'm going to answer this next one that we have here on the topics list, and then I'm going to jump into some of your questions down below. So number 5 is, what's your favorite 90s R&B group? Man, like I said, this is the one we got to save the most time for. All right, so I'm going to be turning 35 next week. Yeah, next week from today, I'll be 35. So, you know, when people say to date myself, well, I am dating myself. That's how old I am. I really don't. Age ain't nothing but a number, right? As Aaliyah said. But 90s R&B for me has a special spot in my heart. So this is a great question. Thank you so much for writing in and asking this question. What's your favorite 90s R&B group? There's so many ways to dissect this and start. I think one of the things we look at is the fact that there were so many amazing 90s R&B groups that today would have been just all solo acts right off the bat. You know, obviously, if you look back, you know, and you had Boyz II Men, or you had Color Me Bad, or you had Jodeci. And I know a lot of those groups, you know, split off and ended up forming their own individual acts as it went on. But you know, there was just so many powerful 90s R&B groups, and that's just mentioning the guy groups. You know, obviously TLC, En Vogue. There were so many good groups that came from that came out of the 90s. If I had to say what my favorite one is, growing up when I was a kid, I think it was like in my 3rd grade and my 4th grade photo, 2 years in a row, I had the Boyz II Men shirt that I had to rock. So it's got to be probably Boyz II Men. I just think, you know, pound for pound, when you're looking at the albums they put out, it's hard to top Boyz II Men. And when I'm talking 90s R&B, some of you are getting that confused with late 90s R&B and pop, like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. That's not 90s R&B. I'm talking early 90s R&B. At least that's how I'm interpreting the question. And for that, I gotta say it's Boys to Men. Boys to Men, MECBBD. I absolutely love them. So let me get to some more of your guys' questions in here. I see people talking about there's some wows, there's some plant eaters out here. Thanks to, Margaret says, thanks to you, Dr. Mondo. Watch Forks Over Knives after you talked about it on a video. Like that, I'm sorry, but can anyone relate to how cool that is when you mention that film and people watch it? I have clients that do that, and they're like, I just watched Forks Over Knives, and I've been eating this way for 2 weeks. It literally makes my whole day and like my whole week, and so that's so cool. Margaret, what did you think of it? I'm so excited to hear more. Absolutely. Let's see. Someone else talking about checking out Forks Over Knives. What is the best food to eat to try to build up iron? I'm a severe anemic and getting I'm not sure that word, help diet it up and down. So one quick thing, probably part of the reason why I can't pronounce that word is that I'm not a medical doctor. My background, my doctorate is a doctorate of psychology, so I want to tread lightly here in giving that sort of advice. I'm going to tell you, nutritionfacts.org, okay, nutritionfacts.org. It is a nonprofit website that's dedicated to giving you information that can answer questions like this in short video formats. It's through Dr. Greger. And that would be where I would go there and look at iron. I would just type in iron deficiency and to find out. I do know that typically, just plants in general, from what I know, and this is my layman's knowledge, there are certain plants that tend to be higher in iron than others. There are, of course, iron supplements, but the notion that you have to eat meat in order to get iron is absolutely untrue. I do know that. I can say that because I've researched it, but that's where I would go, nutritionfacts.org. So I want to send you to a specific place where they can give you more information. If anyone else knows, please go in there and tell us. Tell us about you signing up for that full marathon. So excited for you. Well, Josh, you've been one of the guys that has been supporting me. I know we've been chatting on Instagram, and yeah, just signing up for that, for the full marathon. It's awesome, man, because I want to meet you guys so bad, all the Missing Chins Running Club. And if you guys are going to be in Louisiana in January, I have to do it. There's that, and then there's the other part of if it scares you, do it. Well, it does. I mean, like today, 26 miles kind of scares me. So I have to do it. And I know that what's on the other side of that for me is fearlessness. More than anything, it's stretching my beliefs to the sense of believing and knowing that I'm able to do much more than I thought I was capable of. So that's what I want. And I also want to just feel what it's like to go there physically and be able to pull myself through it mentally. So that's what it's all about. It's all because of you guys, man. Missing Chins Running Club gets the assist on that. They just have been so encouraging, and it's been so exciting for me to be able to be a part of that group and get to talk to so many of those guys. And Josh, we're talking to you soon, man. We're gonna be talking to you in early August. We'll get to hear about your story. So I can't wait to hear your story too. And you'll be, I think, at the second or the third week of August, one of the two. But you're in August, I know that. Dan says, one decision, one moment, one stride at a time. You can't read that one fast. It's one sentence, but one decision, one moment, one stride at a time. Yeah, one of the things I was telling someone that just started running is how cool is it that really when you get into it, running is one of the most spiritual practices you could do. And it's one of the most mindful practices you could do if you focus on your breathing and moment to moment. And so I absolutely love that. I agree with all that, and I will be using that. Linda says, hey Linda, she says, support is everything. Just moved to a new city state. I have 0 friends, looking for a new gym to call home. Yeah, well, what city and state are you in? Because if there's anyone on here that can help you out, that'd be awesome. So Linda, where are you at? Because we need to get you some support. I know you had an awesome community back at P2P, so it'd be really cool to get you community out here. Let's see. Boom, I'm going to get to meet you at Louisiana Marathon. Awesomeness. Yes, man, that's what I'm talking about, Josh. Born to Run. I just downloaded it on Audible, so I definitely will get that one. The other book was Running in Philosophy. Maureen says, I just don't get running. Not yet. I will do my first in December. I don't know if Josh, if he's saying, I thought Josh has ran full marathons. Four fulls here, greatest singular accomplishment of my life. Love it. Running is great for the mind. SWV, how did I leave SWV out? Sisters with Voices, oh my gosh. They were unbelievable. Sorry that I'm getting behind on some of this. Yeah, Nalita says she knows what I'm talking about. Love some Boys to Men. Yeah, Boys to Men. The others not so much. So we have some agreement here on Boys to Men being incredible. Yeah, they are absolutely incredible. They're my favorite 90s group. So we got 2 questions left on here. One of the questions is, why are some people haters when it comes to your weight loss journey? Why do some people hate? This is one we could do a whole show on, and we kind of just did in some ways this last Tuesday on why marriages sometimes dissolve in the face of weight loss. People don't always like to see you change because people don't like change, number one. We all don't like change, okay? So we resist things that are new, okay? You know, like right now, I'm in a habit of eating Ethiopian food. I told you my brain likes patterns. I eat Ethiopian food 5 days a week. It used to be 2, then it was 3, then it was 4. I eat Ethiopian food. I eat spicy lentils, I eat split peas, I eat greens, I eat cabbage. What am I missing here? Potatoes, they make brown rice because they know that we're healthy there. And they leave out even the oil with that stuff because I'm addicted to it. I love it. I love it so much. Do you know there's a time that you couldn't have drugged me into an Ethiopian restaurant? You couldn't. I would have criticized it. I would have told you why I wouldn't like it. And I didn't even know anything about it. But it's just that I knew it was different. And I was resisting and protesting change. Some of us are more resistant to change than others. Especially if you're like me and you like your routine and your consistency, you're more resistant to changing it up. So we all hate change. So when someone changes the way they're eating, how they're spending their time, how they're connecting and bonding with you, naturally sometimes we resist that. So that's why some people resist weight loss change, is that people just in general, we as people tend to be resistant towards change. And I hear people on here saying, that's me, I don't like change. Other thing is this, your change sometimes makes other people question themselves in those areas of their life. So me eating Ethiopian food has made lots of other people in my circle question whether they like Ethiopian food or whether they're open to it or not, simply because I'm evangelical about Ethiopian food and I'm wanting everyone to try it. It's the best, you'll love it, you'll feel so good. It tastes amazing, by the way. But when you change, it makes other people question where they're at. And so if you're losing weight, people close to you might be questioning their own health process and where they're at in terms of their health journey. And let's go back to point 1, which is change. They're probably not the same change process that you are. They probably aren't. Like, what are the odds of stars aligning to where you're ready to change and they're ready to change? It doesn't happen all that much. It really doesn't. So you have to be patient but firm, as we talked about on Tuesday with people. And what that means is you have to be firm about where you're going and take a stand for you, right? But you also have to be patient with their change. It doesn't mean that you allow yourself to just get, for them to really just, to crap on you in the process in terms of their negativity or to try to trip you up in terms of what they're doing. But at the same time, you need to know that part of why they're protesting is because it's making them insecure. Whether it's just about change or about their own journey. It's not always these reasons. There could be more to it, but I'm giving you some general answers to this question. Why do some people hate on the weight loss transformation? So I hope that's helpful. Final question is this Quiff thing real or is it fake? How many people know what I'm talking about with the Quiff thing? How many people have seen the video that we have on Facebook? Like I said, it's a limited time thing. I don't know how long that thing's gonna be on there. So here's the thing with the Quiff thing. The Quiff is actually a company, it's a brand, which, by the way, we have no affiliation with. I saw this video for the whole Quiff thing, and I was like, this is ridiculous. But at the same time, I'm a bald guy, and what it is, it's basically these bald guys that are getting this like really, really fancy, handcrafted, I don't even know if that's the right way to explain it, but they're getting these like hair pieces that they're gluing onto their heads, and they're using this certain glue. It looks totally real, and if you don't believe me, go check it out. And so, I mean, as a bald guy who's lost the good fight, I'm kind of like, man, I'm not gonna lie. Like, while everyone else might watch that video and talk crap about it, I'm gonna be like, wow, I'm kind of intrigued. And I love messing with people, And I've secretly always been regretful of the fact that, I don't know if some of you have seen pictures of my son, he has curly hair. I used to have hair like that, but I just didn't rock it. When I was 15, I started getting fades, and eventually my hair faded away. So I'm kind of like, I'm intrigued. And I have another friend who his birthday is next week too, and so we both were talking about, like, we're both bald, we lost the fight, and we're both like, you wouldn't do it. Oh no, you wouldn't do it. And so now we kind of get in that whole little thing, and we were talking about you wouldn't really actually do the quiff. So anyway, that's kind of how this whole thing started. And just last week, we're sitting having Ethiopian food with my videographer and a few other guys, and it just got brought up. You know what? We need to go do some research for this. And so we did. We went out and did some research, and that's what the video is about. If you haven't seen it, it'll be up for a little while longer. I'm not sure if we'll keep it up for long. But anyway, the video is about me going around town and just calling in people and actually visiting some hair salons, including Spanish Fly, they were really nice. A lot of the salons we called, they were not very nice about it. They were like very tripped out. They didn't know what we were talking about. They thought it was strange. And so there's a couple salons, Colors and Spanish Fly Salon here in Midtown. We visited them, and anyway, we had a lot of fun with it. And then we got Johnson's Beauty Supplies, which is out in Del Paso Heights. If you're familiar with Sacramento area, you know where Del Paso Heights is. And we went out there, and those women didn't want us to be filmed, didn't want to be filmed, but they allowed it to happen. We even tried on some male wigs to kind of just see what it would look like. We had fun with it. I had a lot of fun. And yeah, now I've had like people offering like, look, I'll buy you a wig. So let me be clear. Is it real or is it fake? Oh, it's real. I will reveal to you very soon whether I'm gonna do this or not. And if I do it, I'm doing the real thing. Like if I do it, this is one thing to clarify. If I quiff, I'm quiffing. Like that's the real thing. I'm gonna actually find a way to get one of those quiffs. I might have to do like a GoFundMe because I think they're a little expensive. Or Quiff can, like, I don't know, hook me up for giving them all this free publicity and educating people on them. But if I did it, I would do the real thing, and I would really make sure that it was something that it wouldn't be one of those wigs that I tried on the other day. No offense, Johnson's Beauty Salons, but if I did it, it would be legit, believe me, and I would not tell you guys anything about it. I would just show up, and I would not even acknowledge it. I would show up on a Tuesday for a Facebook Live, and I would just roll. And so it could be this next Tuesday. It could be the following Tuesday. If it happens, you will have no warning. All of a sudden, you'll see me with some of that Bruno Mars hair that I tried on, or the Ken hair, as Nalita said, which wasn't too bad. Thank you, Nalita. I thought she was quick with that Ken doll comment. It was almost like she had that one in her back pocket. I didn't appreciate that. The Justin Bieber I heard was okay. Pamela, I feel good about that Bruno. And all of that just happened on the spot. We found that there's a lot of wigs. Somehow we found the Bruno one. Bruno was playing as that happened. We went into a little song and dance number. It just felt good. It felt really good. I want to get back out there today and do more of those videos. Those were a lot of fun. So anyway, so yeah, it's a real thing. I'm really considering it, but if I do it, you're gonna have no warning. I'm just gonna show up, and then you guys are gonna be like, oh my God, you did it. And I'm gonna be like, what are you talking about? Did what? And I'm just gonna have this really aggressive, but really amazing looking hair. And I'm gonna do what they do in the Quiff video, which is a really long slow motion of me doing my hair back and forth. Of course, it's gotta be wet, right? Just for the effect. And I'm gonna do that, and I'm just gonna be here. And I'm gonna start going to these salons that I called. Marissa's great over at Spanish Fly. My wife's gonna go see her later this week, and I'm just gonna get my hair done. And no, it's not a wig, it's not a toupee, it's none of those things. It's a quiff, and it's the future. I'm all about the future of things. It's the future of men's male hair replacement, or whatever term they use for that. That part is what makes me uncomfortable, okay? I just want to call it a quiff and move on. So that's it. The quiff is real. This is real. This has been fun, you guys. I'm glad that you guys have had fun with this. Anyone got their t-shirt yet? Anyone got one of these? Huh? Do you have this yet? Some of you have ordered these already. These are the Rewriting My Story t-shirts. Pull all the way back here. These shirts just came in. We have a big order of them that just came in, and we're going to be ordering actually more of them And anyway, so if you've placed an order, we're going to start shipping out next week. And so we're kind of waiting to get everyone's orders, and we've had a lot already. I'll put the link in below, but it's drmondo.org/swag, SWAG. Like, what else would it be, right? And you can go order your shirt on there. Yes, we are aware that when you order your shirt, it does not ask you what size you want. You just type that in on the instructions, or we'll follow up with you. Just tell us what size you want. Order as many as you want. Order some for you. Order some for other people. It goes up to 2XL, and we can definitely order that for you. And in fact, it goes up to 3XL. If whatever size you need, we can get for you guys. So just would love to have you guys rock one of these shirts. Again, what do these shirts say on it? It's like a test for me because I can't see it. I'm lovable. And it talks about being lovable and worthy, enough, vulnerable, evolving, stronger, not defined by the number on a scale, rewriting my story. If that's you, you got to wear one of these shirts. Wear them around. Wear them proud, because these are the things that really embody what we're all about here. And if any of the message that you've heard through any of these broadcasts have inspired you, then this shirt is kind of like the encapsulation of it. And we just want people to get the message out there that they are these things. Sometimes you have to declare that you are these things before you finally feel it. And I want a transformation of you feeling and believing it. In order to do that, we have to have that. So you guys are fun. I appreciate you letting me incorporate all parts of me into this. And I say that in all seriousness, because I know that as you're starting to get a chance to know me better, you could see that I'm very passionate, and I'm really enthusiastic about wanting to help you. I'm very sensitive to what you're going through, because I've been through it myself. And I also like to have fun. I really do. So one of the challenges sometimes is, how do I incorporate all pieces of me into these broadcasts? And lately I've just been kind of letting a little bit more in. So I appreciating you letting me quiff with you. That's what I wanted to say more than anything, is that I appreciate you making space for the quiff. Not sure if I'll get it or not. You'll see soon enough. But I appreciate you guys for that. It touches my heart and warms my heart quite a bit. Have a great weekend. Have a great rest of your week. If you have more questions, go ahead and ask below. If you want a t-shirt, drmondo.org/swag. Go order it now. Shipping will start next week on these shirts. We appreciate all the orders that have been placed already. You're going to get your shirt. Can't wait to get it to you. When you wear it, put a hashtag rewriting my story on Instagram and Facebook in it, and we'll make sure that we try to repost you wearing it, or we'll do a collage or something. So anyway, for all of you guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Next week, this is another crazy announcement. This didn't even make the list here, but next week we are interviewing for the second time Andrew Spudfit Taylor. Anyone know Spudfit? Andrew Spudfit Taylor. This guy ate potatoes for 1 year straight. 1 year straight. And he ended up losing tons of weight. He ended up becoming plant-based, and he just had an amazing transformation. He's got 25,000 people, I think, on Facebook that follow him. He now does coaching. He's based out of Australia. He's got an amazing accent. You'll love his accent. But anyway, tune in on Tuesday for Andrew Spudfit Taylor. If you didn't hear his story the first time, go back into my videos and you'll see his episode where he talked about his story. This is going to be more about what he's up to now, and more about some questions he has about potatoes, and of course, that whole thing. He's now not just exclusively eating potatoes, he's eating other things, but he is releasing a cookbook that is coming out that's going to be available for pre-order. We'll give you the link for that. And he has all these people in the plant-based world, including, again, I don't know how I ended up in there, but I got in the cookbook. All these people in the plant-based world who are offering their recipes for really cool ways to cook with potatoes. It's not this traditional baked potato, just put it in the oven sort of way. There's ways to cook without oil and to cook potatoes, which are some of the most nutrient dense foods that there are. They really fill you up and make you feel satiated. There's tons of different cool ways to do it. And I think it's loaded carnitas fries. Carnitas fries made out of oyster mushrooms, oil-free. I think it's a really good dish, and that dish is going to be featured in the cookbook that Andrew Spudfit Taylor releases pretty soon here. I believe it's available for pre-order now. We'll drop in a link for you guys if you want to pre-order that book, which of course he would love if you would do that or consider doing that. And we'll talk to him on Tuesday, more about the book, more about what he's up to. And yeah, there's just so much good stuff going on right now. So I hope that you guys are feeling that and absorbing that. Joseph, you are. Let me tell you real quick. So Joe, some people out there may be friends with him on Facebook, but Joe's out there doing these squats, and he's has amazing. He's lost over 130 pounds in his weight loss journey. I met him out in Jersey Shore, and Joe is just so inspiring. Every single day, he's doing squats all around the country, and he's doing it with different people, and he's encouraging more people to squat and just move their bodies. Anyway, I've had people recently come up to me and say, how do you know this Joe guy? This guy's amazing. Like, people now that I'm friends with are following him on Instagram and saying, "Do you see today's daily squat report?" And this is a guy that, Joe, he's going to be on the show at some point to tell his story. Joe will tell you there was a time where he lives on the Jersey Shore, on the boardwalk, and there'd be a time where he would never go outside. And it was one of his coaches, Chelsea, that got him to kind of go outside once he started going to the gym and checking out Jersey Shore. And now he's enjoying it every single day. Joseph's the king of squats. Yeah, he totally is. I mean, he's the king of inspiration. And so, Joseph, I'm sorry that we missed you today. But man, you make me sound. I do. I get emotional thinking about you, man. You are so full of love, and you are so full of inspiration, and you are inspiring me every single day, man. So keep doing what you're doing, and we're going to interview you on the show. Next time I come out to Jersey Shore, hopefully I'm going to talk with Matt tomorrow about this, but next time I come out to Jersey Shore, to the Lift Gym, we're doing a feature on you, man. I've already told my videographers are excited. They want to be able to tell your story to people because it's so darn inspiring. So anyway, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate all of you guys. You guys are just absolutely unbelievable. And I just thank you guys for tuning in every week. And if you guys want to share this broadcast, or if you want to share the page, we really appreciate that. But have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. Go do something fun, move a bit. If you feel stuck right now, you're 72 hours away from feeling unstuck. It's a matter of just making a few different choices today, right now. It starts with your next meal. It starts with how you move your body tonight. The brain can heal itself. There's amazing things our mind can do if we allow it to, and make some intentional choices to do so. So anyway, have a great night. So good doing this office hours. It was a lot of fun, and I will talk to you guys soon.